jasmine, oolong, green, and white. Long ago, these 4 teas were skillfully brewed at the Blissful Brew. Then, everything changed when the shop's popularity threatened its existence. All Mr. Okuran, the shop's owner and tea master, could do was to recruit 4 teenage orphans to learn his trade and staff his shop. A year has passed since the orphans were hired, and although their skills have progressed, they still have a lot to learn before they can brew anything. But I believe that they have the potential to make the Blissful Brew the greatest tea shop in the world. Last time on Benders Brews, an Avatar Legends podcast.
You guys all get some rest this night. You remember the letter that Mr. Okuran had left for Mika, talking about the final clue that you guys needed to get, which would give you the last piece of the map.
Hey, Mika, also, don't you have our next clue where we're supposed to go next?
Oh yeah, I do have a letter from Mr. Okuran from me that says something about a map.
So where are we going, Mika?
We have to go to my village.
Small village in the Southern Water Tribe.
So Southern Water Tribe.
Tribe.
How do we get there? We're gonna need a boat or something.
Have a bison.
Well, you can only use them once though. How are we gonna get back?
You blow into the whistle and no sound comes out. And at first you're a little confused, a little frustrated even maybe. But as you sit there and ponder this, all of a sudden in the sky, you feel a sort of heavy breeze of air kind of start to move towards you that starts to grow and grow and grow until over the tree line you see this massive flying bison. And so you kind of steer Mochi into that direction until eventually you find the village where you were born. And as you guys kind of land on the outskirts of this village, it is horribly run down. Nobody is here. The nice big chief's place of residence, which was right in the center of the village.
Well, I walk towards that.
So yeah, you see a variety of drawings. You see all of these depicted with these glowing blue eyes.
All right, everyone get your complimentary sword mint.
And you realize that some sort of creature is right outside of this chief's hut. And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Benders and Brews. We are on episode 10. 2 more, well, I guess 3 if you count the fact that you're starting on episode 10 right now. 3 more episodes for the big finale. Unless, of course, you count the 12th as, you would count 2. I don't know. Whatever the case, 2 to 3 episodes until the finale, depending on how you count things. I'm your host and the game master, Skylar. Let's introduce the people that are playing characters. Let's introduce their characters, and then let's jump into the action. First of all, we've got, I know, Connor, you said you had one in the brain ready to go.
Got one in the brain. I'm Connor, and I'm playing Broccoli. And I didn't know if you know this, but there is an element known by the name of indium, which is a metal, but it's soft enough to where you can chew it like gum.
Oh.
And that is one of Broccoli's favorite pastimes. Because if he's trying to cut weight, he's trying to stay slim, he still wants to have the activity of chewing something. He'll take a wad of indium and just stick it in his mouth and just chew it up.
Are we talking like tin foil soft, or is it even softer?
Once it warms up in your mouth, it's pretty much like chewing gum.
Does it, I'm gonna assume it doesn't taste like chewing gum. Does he go straight indium, or does he coat it in something and then pop it in and chew it?
Just straight indium. The dude enjoys, eating rocks.
Yeah,
so
that's
he's
true.
Pretty used to bland things.
Yes, we're recording this on National Haiku Day, and that was part of the haiku that I wrote for Brock.
That he eats rocks?
That he eats rocks. Known to eat rocks, or something along those lines. It was the first line, I think.
He will eat some rocks. That's 5.
All right, fair enough. I'm not going to say no to that. Especially since it's pre-established to some extent. So,
and it's also pre-established he can break the 4th wall.
Yeah. That's
only when he's high.
Oh,
That's
only when he's high. He sees the whole world as it is.
You wrote moves rocks.
Oh, you know what?
Eats cabbage.
Eats cabbage. Oh, well, okay. So I did a couple of different drafts because I changed things later.
Oh, so you had one where he just ate rocks.
Yes. So
that is very
I looked up online because I was like, okay, I know haikus. I've taken an English class before, which ironically haikus stem from Japanese culture, as I understand. And so I don't know why we learned them in English class, but we were talking about poetry, right? And one of the things that it said online, because I was like, you don't have to rhyme anything in a haiku, like just to clarify so I don't look like a total idiot when I post these. And they're like, no, you don't have to. But a lot of people, it said like a lot of cheeky poets like to rhyme the first and last lines.
Yeah.
And so then I said, hold on, I gotta redo all of these because I want that. I want to do that. I want to be a cheeky poet.
Cheeky guy. A little quirky.
That's my interesting fact. I'm going to put that out there
You're
a
cheeky.
little ahead of time.
You're a cheeky
Is
poet.
that I got to be a cheeky poet recently, and there's the background for it. So
Fun.
now mine is out of the way. So we'll jump over to anyone want to claim it?
I got it.
Dave.
So I'm playing Guohan, the Earthbender, also an Earthbender, youngest member of the party.
That's right.
And he sometimes he's bored on the weekends. Maybe he's got the afternoon off at the tea shop. He likes to go to the town square and go to the community board, the bulletin board, whatever you call it,
Sure.
and look at the wanted posters. And just from looking at the mug shots or the pictures, he tries to guess what the person is wanted for.
Oh. That's
Or like like if they post the local mug shots of just whatever people have done. So he's
yeah.
like, that guy looks like somebody who would steal some cabbage.
Like he's trying to get real specific.
Yeah.
And then once, they get caught or whatever, and then, because I mean, it'll say on the poster like for thievery, but it won't say for thievery of cabbages typically.
Yeah.
But once they catch them and then it gets announced that we caught the notorious cabbage thief, you're like, got him. I mean, they got him, but I called it.
Exactly.
I love it. That's fun. That's a fun game. I wish they posted that kind of stuff. Well, I guess they kind of do. I don't know. I know there was like a whole thing about it where they were like, well, we shouldn't be posting mug shots or something. I don't know. Anyways, Cameron.
Hello.
Are you good to go?
Always.
Awesome. Hit me with it.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I am playing Bill Dorr, aka Ash. And his fun fact is back when he was in the Fire Nation, he was very competitive in a sport called Agni Foot Race.
Agni Foot Race.
Agni,
Yes.
Agni,
Yes.
Agni Foot Race.
Similar to Agni Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not a death foot race?
No.
Oh, okay.
Very
okay.
different. So the whole idea of the Agni Foot Race was to test fire, just like kids who grew up in the Fire Nation on their. It was a foot race, but it had obstacles in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So like think of your classic like military obstacle course, right? But
Yeah.
these kids would just have to do it, and the goal was just to be the fastest through the foot race. And the idea was like training Fire Nation kids to find who's the best without fully utilizing like fire powers.
Sure.
If that makes sense, right?
No, that does.
And it's like any kid could do it, firebender or not, right? It's just
Right.
any kid could do it just to find out who's the best. And Bill Dorr was just like naturally really good at it.
Right.
That and pole vaulting. So
Nice. Which, yeah, that fits with the bow staff and everything. So there's a little bit of background there. That's cool. No, I completely agree. I think that would be a pretty cool way to challenge people, whether or not they're benders or not. Kind of like pull that away. Because, I mean, how much is firebending really going to help you when it comes to a foot race?
yeah, especially if there's an eclipse.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. That's true. That is true. Every once in a blue moon. Or a hidden moon. Fantastic. Awesome. And last but not least, Michaela.
Yep. I play Mika. Sometimes Mika plays me.
Whoa. Got her.
Oh, wow.
Mika's fun fact is, she likes snow cones.
Nice. And she can make them herself.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as she's got like water. Does she
Yeah.
have a favorite flavor?
Well, no, she's not really.
Seal fat.
Seal.
She's not really experienced with flavors because when she was out with her dad,
Right.
it was all frozen, so they didn't really have a whole lot of frozen things to come by.
So she just munched on
Frozen
plain
ice.
snow
Yeah.
cone.
I mean, you can imagine different flavors.
Oh man, that makes it more sad. She's just like,
It's not any sadder than her sitting by the pond and telling stories with the fish that she saw.
you're not wrong. I just feel like every episode, Mika's backstories get sadder and sadder. And I thought we did a pretty dang good job of making yours a sad backstory as it is.
Well, yeah, but we have to like actually play into it. I was talking to David about my fun fact, and David's like, I don't really know your backstory. And I was like, yeah, I suppose you don't. We haven't really talked about it in podcasts, and he didn't listen to the
I was
other
going to
ones
say
where-
insert classic.
I don't think any of us did.
I don't think we were
Yeah.
supposed to.
Yeah, that's how I treated it too.
That's fair. I mean, I guess at this point,
It's
now
more
that we're so
canon,
close to
yeah.
the end,
Well,
I
I'll listen
wouldn't
to
say
them once
no.
we're done with
Well,
the
we
season. I
basically-
won't listen to
okay.
them now with the finale,
Oh,
but
alright,
after
alright.
finale, I'll listen. That way, if we do the AMA,
Yeah.
we
It'd
can
probably be good to know,
we know
just so
more
that we can,
info.
yeah.
The Avatar
But I mean, we
Music
basically
Awards.
know-
Yeah. What did you think I was talking about, Skylar?
Yeah, no, well, that's what I thought you were talking
Okay.
about. I was like, yeah, we had some music in those episodes.
Oh man, I gotta finish that Dad's Away song.
I forgot about that.
By finish, I mean start.
Yeah, start and finish. All right, fantastic. Once again, my name is Skylar. I'm the Game Master, and let's jump into episode 10 of Benders and Brews. All right, so if you guys remember from last time, you guys had been taken by flying bison to the, I believe it was the Southern Water Tribe, where Mika had kind of, been born, grew up for a very short amount of time before being kicked from the tribe there. That was where Mr. Okuran had left you guys' next hint with the chieftain. His name was Tatonka, and he had met him while traversing, trying to hopefully find Mika's father. Was unsuccessful, but he did find some hints. Met with Tatonka, who was as far as you guys know, the sole remaining individual in this little sort of tribe. He had left him with your guys' final clue. But when you guys arrived there, you found the whole place torn apart. Strange sort of hints and suggestions to some sort of monstrous creatures that had been attacking this village. And you have not seen Tatonka at all. You guys were inside of the chief's tent, sort of a big, more of a cabin or something along those lines. But whatever the case, it was also much like the rest of the sort of village, torn up, beat up, with some notes and some other items that suggest to the people that were living here were trying to find some way to fight against some strange creatures, potentially possessed. And as you guys were finishing up looking through all of this stuff, you heard some sounds outside of the hut, and you went to go investigate and found a group of 3 wolves, all with glowing blue eyes, sort of unnatural. And that is what stands before you. What would you like to do?
I closed the tent flap. Guys, there's like 3 wolves with glowing blue eyes out there. Was I seeing things?
Go away.
Maybe they will. Everybody be quiet. I listen to see if they're moving towards the tent.
You hear footsteps, and it sounds like they're just pacing back and forth outside of the tent. Maybe letting out some wolf-like barks, loud growls as they wait for you guys to make a move.
Well, if we don't make a move, they'll never.
Why don't you test that theory?
Wait, guys, we can't just stay in here. They'll probably attack. What's the bison's name?
The flying bison was Mochi.
Oh yeah,
He didn't go anywhere.
Well, he was outside of the town.
Is he still there?
He's probably snoozing.
I mean, it was a ways away. Like, you guys kind of walked a couple hills maybe, and then got into the town.
Definitely couldn't fly off, because that's what that one guy said he couldn't do. He said we could fly one place and then be done.
And then
So he's probably just slowly walking back. Maybe hitchhiking, thumb in the air. As everybody's in there know to do.
Didn't we have
There's wolves outside.
there was like an herb or something that we had?
Yes, you guys found the sword mint leaves, and there were some notes that suggested that these creatures didn't seem to like these sword mint leaves.
Well,
It emphasized that it wasn't enough to get them out of there permanently or anything like that, but it did ward them off at least temporarily until they kind of got a little bit angrier to the point where they just kind of eventually ignored it. But it's good in a pinch. And I think you guys passed it out so that everybody had at least a little bit of it.
Is there water nearby? I guess there's snow.
I mean-
There's snow everywhere
Could
outside.
And what is in this tent currently at our disposal?
Our bodies.
There's no bodies in here, but there's plenty of beat up
Well, our
furniture.
bodies
oh
are
yeah,
in
your
here.
bodies are in fact in here. That is true. Plenty of beat up, broken furniture chunks and bits and all kinds of that kind of good stuff. There's papers. There's some various like bottles and such on the shelves that have like obscure colored liquids and stuff. Failed experiments, so on and so forth.
So failed experiments, we could potentially have some stovetop, some burners type deals. Potentially.
It's a good thing this isn't like a high magic. If this was like D&D, I mean, you would just be pulling. What I'm hearing is you're pulling a Shrek 2,
Fireball.
breaks into the fairy godmother's shop and just starts dumping all the potions all over the place with a variety of effects. But that is not what we're playing.
Can I roll to assess the situation?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
14.
Holy cow. Okay, well, you get to ask me 2, and you take +1 ongoing when you act on whatever answers I give you. So, all right, so it's what here can I use to blank? Who or what is the biggest threat? What should I be on the lookout for? What's my best way out, in, or through? And who or what is in the greatest danger?
So what here can I make to ward off them wolves?
Okay, what here can you use to ward off the wolves? Okay, well, you have spearmint. You could, obviously, holding it is probably only going to do you so much good, right? That's keeping it pretty close to your person. They're going to be able to come pretty close before they'll start smelling it and get warded back. But there's plenty of furniture in here. You could tie a chunk to it, maybe use it as kind of a spear to kind of ward them back, keep them at a little bit of a distance.
Set it on fire
You-
and have an aroma, smoke aroma. What is that called?
I almost said a
Yeah, an
sensei.
incense.
See, my thought was
You could do that.
to boil it in water, make it like a tea, put it into one of the bottles, and use it as like a Molotov cocktail. However, we don't have access to fire, I would assume.
That is the tricky thing, but you do have plenty of wood in here. I would say,
Just
given that you obviously assess the situation, given that because again, this is an opportunity for me to create the story when you guys kind of like do well on the rolls and then you pitch ideas, right? So I'm gonna say that there is 100% a classic flint and steel in here. And obviously you've got plenty of like torn up fabric, you've got plenty of torn up wood, you could get some fire going pretty quick. One thing that I'll put, well, actually, I don't know. That's a question you could ask, I think.
So,
Are you guys spitballing these ideas out loud, or?
well, that was my intention.
Because the wolves can hear you, man.
Guo is probably rubbing some of that spearmint on his armpits. This'll do the trick.
And that's another great idea as well.
Gotta protect the vital organs.
True.
Just armpits.
So I would like to take. I still have like one other question, right?
Yes.
What is our best way to defend ourselves? I guess aside from the swordment, 'cause we've
Okay.
established that helps. But like, what's the best way? Like, are they blind in one eye? Do they have bad peripheral vision? Can they not smell too good? Is one of them coming up with a limp?
I would say that I don't know how much Brock would necessarily know about spirits and creatures and so on and so forth. But these are not just like normal wolves, or at least they're not anymore. So you imagine that although their sight probably works just fine, their other senses are probably dampened as they're kind of like singularly focused by whatever means it is that they are possessed by. They are outside the tent. They saw Guo, maybe saw some movement. They definitely seem hesitant to enter the tent. Maybe it's because they can smell this swordment from outside. That could very well be possible. Maybe they don't want to go running into a situation like that, especially because you guys have been handling it. I would assume that, particles are in the air and things along those lines. But they definitely don't seem like they're super interested in just running in and attacking.
Well, I would like to go with my Molotov cocktail route.
Okay.
I take some water, or I take some snow, I should say,
Sure.
scoop it up, and I put it in like a bottle or in like a pot if there's one there. And I use the flint and steel with some of the broken furniture, make a little fire,
Yeah.
and I boil water, and I put the swordman after rubbing it on myself
Sure.
for safety. And then I throw the swordman in and make some swordman tea.
Okay. All right. Sounds
And
good.
then I load it up into like 5 or 6 bottles, and I tie a piece of fabric. I tear it off, put it in said bottles, and I'm ready with a torch.
You just do all that in an instant?
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
while you're working on that, you start, getting the gear together and everything like that. While you're doing that, the rest of you guys, you kind of see what he's doing. I don't know.
Do
It's
I
up to-
see him starting to try to start a fire?
Yeah, yeah.
I go, Brock, I'm not exactly comfortable with you starting a fire while we're all in here.
Well, I'm not exactly comfortable dying by a wolf.
Well, I would rather not be in an enclosed space with another fire again, personally.
I mean, okay.
As you mention this,
Okay.
you're met with basically an option because the wolves start to growl outside, and you see as Brock is getting some of this stuff ready, one of the muzzles, one of the noses of one of these wolves kind of peek through the curtain.
Can I whack it
Yeah, you can certainly.
with my bow staff?
Sure. Do
Pop
a
you on the nose.
I'm gonna bop it on the nose.
Yeah, just do
really
a-
What
teach
did
it
they
a
say to do?
teach it a lesson, you know.
do a classic. Rely on your skills and training.
10.
10. All right, you succeed on a hit. You whack this wolf on the nose. You hear it kind of, do a whine as it kind of backs up, and then it just starts to growl. It's getting a little bit angrier. But you bought a little bit of time as Brock is quickly getting the rest of his whatnot ready and completed.
My whatnot.
Your whatnot. That's right. But at this point, both wolves are getting upset. They're not poking through, but you have a moment to do something.
So is it just 2?
3?
3, okay.
Yeah. Is there anything anybody else would like
Any
to?
other bright ideas, guys? I don't know how much longer I can hold this door.
It's very possible they will just run in. They seem like they're getting a little bit antsy outside.
Could we do the whole 1-2 where we open up the door when they're coming to attack it, and then open it and they stumble inside and we sneak out. Shut the door.
It's a curtain.
It's just like a.
Same
Curtain,
thing.
Mika.
So you're gonna pull back the curtain as they kind of run in. Okay.
Ooh.
Are you doing this with Guo? Guo, are you grabbing the other curtain?
Sure.
All right.
Any little magic trick, your circus tricks.
Sure.
Isn't that?
Except they
when
don't
you-
disappear.
I was gonna say, it makes them disappear, not appear very quickly inside a room with all of us.
Okay, sounds good.
That
They're gonna
don't
come
sound
in,
good.
They're gonna come in anyway, and they're not gonna meet any resistance. They'll be confused for a second
What
or
if
two.
we, while they ran in, we ran out the other door?
So there's windows,
Hey.
but there's only really one door per se. Now, you
Oh.
could absolutely get out. They're large enough windows, and again, this whole thing has been torn apart quite a bit. So the windows are plenty big for a person to swoop right out.
What's the roof look like?
It's not great. It's kind of starting to cave a little bit, probably from the weight of snow and obviously the lack of use and repair and everything like that. It's just kind of worn out, so it's starting to kind of collapse in just ever so slightly. But things creak quite a bit.
Oh.
You wonder if this structure is pretty weak at this point. Honestly, you definitely wouldn't want to go slam it into walls or any sort of pillars. Load bearing for sure.
Hint, hint.
I guess, again, sometimes ideas kind of spark as you go along.
See, all the more. You just knock out a pole when they come running in, and then we sneak out real quick while it falls on them.
But then what do I do with my Molotovs?
You can throw it after we're all out.
To keep
and
'em
then
inside.
Bill doesn't have to be
Yeah.
scared.
And set them on fire while they're underneath everything.
After Bill's not in the house,
Yeah,
or we
preferably, yes.
check
Guo's
whatever
gonna
this
go
is.
grab like a chair
Okay.
or a stool or something. Whatever he can find.
Yeah, absolutely. It probably won't be in full, if you wanted to sit on it, you might have a problem.
No,
but if you
but-
were going to use it for just about anything else.
Oh, and he's gonna go to the other curtain flap with one side. It's like, everybody, get to the sides. Next to the flaps.
Okay, I get to the side.
By this point, is my stuff done?
Yeah, you're quickly pouring your juice concoction into these bottles.
Yes.
And you're grabbing a chunk of you rip a chunk of fabric as you run by, and you get to the side of one of these flaps.
And I got a torch.
All right.
'Cause I gotta light them somehow.
All right. Sounds good. Also, I just want to emphasize the fact that a Molotov works because it's high alcohol.
Yeah.
And it bursts into flames. This is water.
This is water and tea.
So
yeah.
I don't know if the fire. I mean, I guess you could just start. I mean, it's a dry structure, right? It's a cold, freezing cold out here. It's a very dry climate.
I mean, Brock's never been the smartest guy. He just,
Oh, okay. Yep.
he's,
You're playing your character. I appreciate that.
well, yeah. But he means well. He's got like this tea-infused, quote-unquote, flame ball that's definitely 100% gonna work, I'm sure.
Bro's gonna take his coat off
Mmm.
and dress the chair with it.
Okay, I see where this is going now.
And he's gonna toss it into the middle of the room.
All right, sounds good. All right, so
In front, straight in front of the door.
Okay, sounds good. Mika, are you still doing your thingamathinger with the flap?
Why not?
Okay, sounds good. I will let you decide if you want to help use the actual help option, but otherwise, Guo, I want you to roll a trick.
Oh,
Oof.
that's a 4.
Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, Mika. I don't think that's gonna help you too much to do the help there.
Well, what if I pull the curtains extra hard as they open and
If you
they
would like to
fall?
roll,
I mean, they're brittle.
if you would like to roll a trick separately, I think that would be fair. Since you're both kind of doing two different things. Honestly, yours would be the first, and then Guo's idea is kind of the second.
8.
8. Okay, that's a success. So you can pick one of the options available on trick. And actually, this is probably one of those times that we finally use one of the other options, but that's just my thinking.
Oh, I was just gonna say they stumble.
I think that's a good thought. So you get +1 forward when acting against him. All right, so basically, this is what happens. Guo gets his fake person set up inside. The wolves, they leap forward, charging into this hut, just as kind of bracing themselves for impacting through this curtain, because it's a pretty thick curtain, all things considered. And they knew that when the one pressed his muzzle in there, and who knows, maybe these guys had been in this hut before. So they were ready for this thing to hit them, and having to kind of push through it, and instead it gets pulled back. And whether it be just by the surprise of that or the fact that they were braced for no reason, they kind of tumble inside the tent. But unfortunately, they do not look over at Guo's little attempt, a fake scarecrow, you could say. Instead, they turn around and they see the four of you all kind of gathered around the door. What are we doing? We've got a variety of different options and opportunities
I'm
here.
running out the curtain.
You're just gunning right out the curtain. Okay, sounds good. All right. Guo, what are you doing?
I'm following suit.
Okay, sounds good.
Ah!
My name is
Oh.
not Suit.
Suit, wait up! Why? What? Where would you even get that?
Sorry, that joke.
That is pretty good. It is pretty good. What's Bill doing? Probably.
I follow Guo.
Okay.
That is my name.
And last but not least, Brock, who's taking up the rear.
I follow Bill and kind of chuck one of them definitely going to work Molotovs.
You've got
behind
it
me.
lit.
I got it lit.
Okay, all right. So,
I
It's
I just light two of them, like the little rags, and I just kind of chuck them on the ground.
yeah.
I would like to imagine.
Wait, did you say 2?
I mean, I made multiple.
No, I know. I want to clarify because people are going to keep track.
I like to think that if I roll poorly, the glass just shatters and the water extinguishes the fire.
I mean, that's possible that it happens either way. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to have you do a push your luck, and I'm going to have you get a +1 because of your assess the situation.
I do have to ask.
Yes.
How common are Molotov cocktails in the world of Avatar?
I mean, anyone that puts a rag in a bottle of high-proof alcohol and lights it on fire, it can make one. So, I mean, it's
Just
not...
saying, have these been invented yet?
Well, I think
about to
Or
invent
did
it.
Brock invent the first Molotov cocktail, but it's like
Here's the thing.
a non-functioning Molotov
I
cocktail?
think as long as the concept of high-proof alcohol being flammable exists, which we do know it does because, for instance, take the episode where they're in that sort of like Fire Nation integrated city. I can't remember which one it was. And the one dude is like blowing flames, right? And he is a firebender, but he was doing kind of like a whole trick, and it showed he had, I believe, he had a bottle, and he was, drink and then blow the flames. So I think the concept is known, so I see no reason why Molotovs wouldn't exist.
Uh-huh.
Definitely wouldn't be used very often by firebenders, because why?
Just do it.
In hindsight, I should have looked if there was any oil. That would have been smart. But what do I
isn't
roll that
smart.
with?
Yes, so push your luck is going to be with passion.
Hey everyone, Skylar here. Are you a fan of Session Zero Heroes and the shows we produce, or the characters involved? Then you should check out our epic merch we have available online. From shirts to stickers and everything in between, we worked hard on creating a variety of designs and made sure to get your favorite characters on those products as well. Whether you're looking for Brock Lee on a hoodie to wear to the gym with you, or maybe Fizzlefinger's tote bag to stuff your ill-gotten gains in, we've got you covered. Just head over to our website at sessionzeroheroes.com and click on our merch tab to see all the amazing products and designs that you can get. Now back to the show.
So I got a 12.
A holy cow.
I rolled a 9 and +3 stat effects.
Yeah, on a 10 plus, your boldness pays off despite the cost. The GM tells you, okay, well, I think we've already kind of established what the additional opportunity is. So, bottom line, you hurl 2 flaming tea bottles.
Essentially, yeah.
They splash on either side of the walls, these old wooden walls in this old wooden hut that's been creaking and falling apart and just is completely dried out, right? The tea does not splash up high enough to put the flames out.
Nice.
So instead, it starts the walls on fire. I would imagine you probably hit kind of like, because you kind of said that you almost like drop them basically. So I'm imagining you hit near the entrance. So these wolves are not interested in leaving because now that smell is around there and they're kind of like backing up from it, right? They're freaking out. So you basically ignited the entrance and exit, really the only way out for the most part. You've ignited that and you're keeping them at bay from following after you.
Nice.
So, very successful for sure.
You thought the water is just gonna extinguish the flames.
And to
but-
clarify for everybody
In the real
listening,
world.
you now have 3 bottles left.
3 bottles.
Yes.
Of the definitely now canonically working cocktail.
They to some extent work. Maybe not to the fullest extent.
I really have to just roll 12s anytime I plan to use those.
Right.
Because otherwise the water's just going to put it out.
That's true. Well, and I feel like flame isn't really the important thing here.
No.
All things considered. But whatever the case, you guys are out. As you guys start to run away, this place starts to ignite. I mean, the flames have plenty of stuff to eat on. All this broken, beat up furniture that's torn apart, plenty of fabric and so on and so forth that's scattered around in there. Plenty for it to grab onto, and it just starts igniting. So you guys watch as eventually something gives way, the roof of this building collapses, and the wolves, as far as you know, are not a problem anymore.
Hey Bill, you want to warm yourself by the fire? You were talking about how freezing cold you were.
That's very funny, Mika. If anyone's cold, it's probably Guo. He just left his coat.
Oh
in there.
no, you did! Oh no!
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, now the new mission is go find Guo a new coat.
And Bill. I don't
And
even
Bill.
have a coat.
You didn't get one?
No.
Can we
Oh yeah, I did grab one.
I thought
Yeah.
I'll
everybody
share
got
my coat with Guo. We'll take turns.
Well, I
Whoa.
grabbed 2 coats because
Take two.
because I was
That's
extra
a
I was extra
lie.
cold.
You are lying through your
Non-canon,
teeth.
non-canon.
Oh, dang it.
But if... oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I've got a torch. I can just kind of hold it. You guys can just kind of.
If I roll a 6, Bill was extra cold to grab.
Eh.
Ah, that's a 6.
What I will say is that you look around and there's several other structures in this area, so there's definitely plenty of opportunity to go and see if there's another coat.
And is there
Is
another?
there another coat?
Well, I don't know. Are you gonna go
If I
into
roll
another
any-
building?
another
No.
6.
I'm good, guys. I can tough it out.
Any building of no use to us, can I set it on
sound-
fire?
Guo is very cold.
You sound great. Go.
Can we ravage every building, whatever is of no use to us? I just set on.
You're not cold.
No,
because
you
I'm
don't need
sharing
to
my
set
coat.
everything
We're
on
taking
fire.
turns.
I don't need to.
Well,
but,
who's
like,
wearing
I
it now?
Can,
You.
so
I just was wearing it.
Well, let's get.
I say I'm good, Mika. I can tough it out as I start to shiver.
I roll my eyes and walk away.
All right. Well, are you guys going towards any of the buildings? I would say there are, let's see, there's 2 small cabins. There's a few cabins that are just derelict, right? Like they've almost pretty much entirely collapsed. They look like small cabins or huts or whatever you want to call them, things that people would have just lived in. There's one that's still fairly intact. It's a much larger cabin. Or hut, rather. Gosh, I gotta start using that term. And then there are 2 cabins... And I use that correctly this time. There are 2 cabins that are kind of on opposite ends of the outskirts of this village. Which of those 3 are you guys headed to?
how cozy them cabins look.
Pretty cozy. Pretty cozy, both of them, honestly.
Which one looks better?
Which one looks like it's in better shape?
Yeah,
Um,
or like just like if there's like a higher standing, like if I can tell if there's like a wealthier, like higher important type of a cabin.
Is there one that says coat tent?
Neither of them says coat tent. There's one that definitely just looks better than the other one by far.
I was gonna say I can also case the joint,
Let's
Oh,
go
okay.
into that cozy.
which means when I assess a situation, I can add these questions to the list I ask,
Oh, yeah.
and I can always ask one extra question from these options, even on a miss.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So are you headed
So
to
if
that
you
cabin?
would rather me do that, then
What are the extra questions?
what here is most valuable or interesting, who or what is most vulnerable,
Mm.
who here is in control, wealthiest, has the most power.
Oh, okay. I would say use it when you get to the cabin.
Okay, fine with me.
Sounds good. You can find some nifty little secrets. So I'm gonna say you guys head to this nicer cabin. Let's say it's got like a variety of pelts that are kind of all over the outside of it. Obviously, they're not in great condition just over time, right? As they've been sitting here, not necessarily rotting, because I think the cold kind of helps keep that away. But you know, they're just old pelts.
Mothballs and all that.
Yeah. And so, but there's a lot of them. And obviously within this kind of culture, hunting is a big thing. And so therefore pelts are also kind of a big deal. Keeps people warm. You're able to use it for beds and furniture and just coats and everything else, which coats is obviously an important cause right now. Anyway, you guys head inside, and unbeknownst or unlike everywhere else, quite a bit of this is pretty much intact. There's not a lot of this particular hut that seems to be torn apart like a lot of the other things are. Mika, if you'd like to roll your special skill and case the joint as kind of a roguish character, something that you scavenging and so on and so forth is kind of a big trained thing that you have developed.
10.
All right. So you
Nice.
get what? Two questions plus one more of yours, or I guess a total of 3. I would imagine.
10 plus ask 2. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would get asked 2 from the normal and then 1 for my thing.
I think you can do 3 total. But does the one say you get +1 question explicitly from your list?
Oh, I guess it just says add these questions to the list.
Okay. And then what was the part about asking an additional or something like that? Whether you fail, or what was it?
I can always ask 1 extra question from those options.
Okay. So you have to take 1 from your case the joint questions, but otherwise the other 2 can be from either.
I'm going to ask, what here is the most valuable or interesting to me?
Okay. I will say you find 3-ish things. So one thing that you find is a coat.
Wow.
You probably find a couple of coats, really just pelts that are like, they have sleeve holes. So you could, whatever you think is, there's just about any animal that's got fur, you probably find a pelt for it in a pretty decent, you can make a coat or a blanket out of it. You also find a stash of various weapons. So I'm talking like some bone spears. You might find even a bow with some arrows.
Wow. I can use that.
I'd say those are probably the 2 main kinds of weapons that probably would be used around here. So there's that. There's only 1 bow and a handful of arrows, maybe like 5 or 6 arrows. But maybe 2 or 3 spears if you want them. Totally up to you. And then you find a very nice, with a buckle. It's looks like maybe some kind of journal or handwritten book of some kind.
Can I charge past and be like, dibs on the bow and arrow?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
Absolutely
dibs on the book,
not.
and I was like, that'd be funny.
That ain't my
Brock, can
speed.
you even fire a bow and arrow?
Can you fire a bow and arrow?
Yeah, actually. I was kind of trained in one.
Bow
But I
staffs
want
and bows and arrows.
I was just military
Let's
trained, actually. But
not forget who took care of that gator shark.
Didn't
I wish
I
the
take care of the gator shark?
tech.
I jumped on its back and stabbed its eyes.
I seem to remember a certain hat-wearing captain who played a major role.
I want to
he
insert.
was the captain.
He was the captain.
I want to insert a spirit in this. It's just a small spirit. It's just the porcupine dad from Over the Hedge, and he says, "Don't forget about these snazzy-looking spears over here."
Just a
Okay.
portrait of the Wisconsin accent.
Yep.
And don't forget.
As my other question,
I already
Yes.
have a spear, porcupine dad.
Oh.
It's my bow staff.
But it doesn't
I
have a
don't see no
end.
point on that.
Um,
Their little bow staff you got.
because
I feel
it's
like they're
supposed to
all
be
asking the
used as a
same question.
non-bludgeoning
There is kind of
weapon.
like a tricky thing. If you want to get like specific about something, like sort of interpret one of those questions a little bit more specifically, feel free to do that as well.
All right, fine, but I'm taking these coats then.
He just takes all
I put
I
on.
was gonna hand you and Bill one,
I can have two?
and I was
Sure.
also going to give him.
I'm sorry, I already
because
have two.
Okay, you
I
get
rolled
No,
this.
you
I rolled
didn't.
this.
No,
you
you
get to the coats first, then, and you hand me and Bill
I was
one.
also gonna throw him a spear, Bill.
Oh.
Me a spear?
Yeah.
But I kind of
It
already
looks
have one.
staff-like, so
You can have a spear.
You don't have to pick it up. I'm just
I
saying
can
I'm
use
throwing
it.
it at you.
I just was saying I could use a
No,
bow.
no, no.
but-
You're mishearing.
Okay,
She's
the bows.
throwing it at
Well, I'll
you.
catch it
bows?
then.
Which
no,
means-
she's throwing it at you.
throwing the spear at me.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to catch it. Make sure I don't get stabbed
That's
by a spear.
impressive.
She just chucked at me.
You can also.
I was just
Javelin.
throwing it in your general direction. I wasn't actually
Oh,
like. phew.
sorry, my bad.
This is the
apparently.
DM forcing conflict again.
Okay, what if I asked? Well, we already know what the biggest threat is from the other cabin, correct?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, unless there's a new threat.
Oh, yeah.
What should I be on the lookout for?
Okay.
It's the flying spear.
So you are on the lookout for any sort of clues that obviously are going to point you to wherever Tatonka was, right? Because that's obviously what you're looking for. You start to look around and you find a variety of items, or even just from peeking into the booklet itself, that this is not Tatonka's cabin. But that, from what you also read, you gather that Tatonka's cabin is the other cabin that you guys didn't choose to go over to. So, there's that.
I didn't choose a nicer cabin.
Well, you chose the nicest cabin.
Oh.
He wasn't in the nicest cabin.
Well, that sounds weird. Who or what is the biggest threat?
Who or what is the biggest threat? Okay.
Which I feel like I know the answer to, but
Well, actually,
with the bow and arrow.
it's
Anybody
very
can
clear,
cross
actually.
me.
I
Yes.
already wrote it on my note.
She already cleaned
Okay,
it.
you can easily
But don't
erase
forget
that
about
on
these
your notes.
snazzy looking spears.
I have one.
Yes, I'm talking to Brock now. Okay.
Fine.
Why don't we have a bow and arrow competition?
You know
See who's
what?
the best with the bow and arrow, then they could keep the bow.
Yeah,
and
who
arrow.
cares
It's only
about the
fair.
plot? I'm down for this bow and arrow. We roll at dawn, okay?
No.
Man, you guys are gonna be here a while. Okay, so
We're on a timeline.
We're
bro.
right
that's
at
true.
dawn.
Yeah, you guys are gonna waste
I
a
roll
whole
an
extra day.
11.
You
We're
guys
just
are
gonna
like-
sit here waiting
What
for
a-
dawn to
you
You guys
fire
are
a bow
cutting
and
it
arrow.
close as it is. Okay, so Mika, your last question was asking about the biggest threat. So you look around, obviously there's nothing here in the immediate moment that's threatening to you. So you turn to this book that you found and you open it up, and what you discover is that it is a series of journal entries from a hunter. And it doesn't say who the hunter is, what his name was, or her name is, because that would be weird, right? Why would they be saying their own name in their own journal? What it does say inside is there's 3 entries kind of near the end, and those are kind of your focus, right?
Yeah.
So first one says,
Been seeing more and more of them possessed beasts every week, it seems. One day, it's just a couple of Arctic hens. The next, it's a whole buffalo yak. Sure is making my job a heck of a lot harder. The things ain't like they used to be. Most of them were scared of you. You'd sneak up on them, and if you weren't quiet enough, they'd run away. But now, they see or hear you, they attack. It don't make no sense.
and then the next entry.
I've been watching lately, keeping an eye on the beasts and where they're going and where they're coming from. Been seeing a lot of them with the blue eyes coming off the mountain near the North Cave. I wonder what's going on over there.
And then finally, the last entry in the journal.
Enough is enough. These beasts have been getting more and more aggressive each day, and they've been attacking the village once a week. I ain't gonna stand by and watch them hurt my family and friends. I'm headed up to that cave and figuring out what's going on in there. Maybe I'll find the secret behind this whole thing, or maybe I'll get eaten by monsters. But one way or another, I can't just sit and watch them drag another person up to those caves.
And then that's it.
So we're going to the caves.
What was that, Mika?
We're going to the caves.
What caves?
Up that mountain.
Oh, what's up there?
And in that moment, Mika thought to herself, do I tell them that it said monsters? Or do I tell them something
Absolutely
nice?
not.
Like popcorn.
Yeah, what's in that cave? Is it-
Burlington
Okay.
Coat Factory.
No.
Coat store.
Okay, what was remind me? What was Mr. Okarun's letter? Why are we here? What
You
are
are
we
here looking
for?
for Chief Tatonka.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to the caves. This diary that I'm reading says people were going to the caves, and so Tatonka's probably there.
Was that the last thing he wrote in that book?
Absolutely. He didn't say Tatonka specifically, but he said people.
So people are going into these caves and
Why?
not returning to write more in the book?
Well, they might have moved homes.
Or more
Yeah, maybe-
likely they're dead.
Maybe they went to the
caves were very
Ah,
nice
Brock,
and
a man
warm.
of
Maybe.
reason.
They were
I may
meditating.
not be able to
and,
read, but I ain't stupid.
But well,
Some guy who died 20 minutes
Where
ago
else would he be?
tried to light fire
he
with water.
basically said he was stupid earlier. It's not.
Well,
Not like I'm giving him
he
anything
chews on
more
metal.
he doesn't know.
I chew on metal and I try to light fire with water. It's not looking great for
That
him.
is true.
it's probably just like a captain's log. You know, it stays with. This is the cabin log. They probably started a cave log when they got to the cave.
Yeah, he would know what this is. He was a
Captain's
captain
log,
previously.
number 347. We have entered the caves.
The second we see a skeleton in that cave, you are getting the fattest I told you so.
Skeleton.
Skeleton.
Skeleton. That's what you're worried about? We're being attacked by monsters, wolves, and you're worried about skeletons?
No, I'm
I
worried about
personally,
being right.
as somebody playing a necromancer in a D&D campaign, take offense to that.
I'm worried about being right. That's what I care about. Because if we encounter a skeleton, skeleton, I would like for the bow and arrow to then be in my possession. That is what I am willing to put
You
at
guys haven't
stake.
made a bet since like season 1.
Oh yeah.
If we
was
encounter
me.
a skeleton
That was it. That was
or
the
a
only bet.
dead body of any kind that looks like the guy who may have written in this journal, I get the bow and arrow.
Wait. Just to clarify for the terms of this bet, if he's if he's moving and attacking, like he's doing a zombie and or
I mean, if he is no longer an alive person, whether he's dead or undead, I feel like that counts.
so if you go up there and you just find like a body just sitting there and there's a sign above it that says like don't go any further or something like that that's like scratched into it in like blood, then that still counts even though he's not a threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
A dead person, like if we encounter a dead body that looks like it could be this captain guy, I feel like I should get the bow and arrow.
Brock, I don't think they do captain system out here. I think they do chief.
Okay, if we find a chief,
I also want to reiterate that this guy in the journal probably mentions Chief Tatanka, and again,
Well, we wouldn't know that.
more and less, he's probably not crazy and referring to himself in the third person.
Brock definitely wouldn't know that. Sounds like
right.
you'd have to read.
We don't know what this book says.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted to make sure that like
We're
Mika
just
was
talking
clear.
based off the little information
okay.
we were given by Mika.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Bill, can you help me put this other coat on?
Yeah, how many coats do you have on?
This is just a second one.
Oh, sure, yeah. I hold it up for him.
Okay.
Ah, thanks.
Now we have 2 coats each.
You look like a beast.
You have one.
I thought you gave me a second one.
Well, I did, but you keep saying, so I was making
Why are
sure
you correcting me?
weren't-
I'm wearing 2 coats. Jeez, this I needed 2 coats for this trip to the cave. The caves are chilly out here. I've never been in one.
I'll grab one of the
Well, they're
spears
not
as
as
well.
windy.
Oh, I have been in a cave. Sorry,
in
bro.
real life.
That cave was heated by lava.
That's
Ooh.
fair.
Guo is taking a spear.
I am taking the body.
Mika has
I
already taken
already
the
have
bow
it.
and arrow, bro.
Mika has
I'm
taken the
spear.
and Bill's sticking with his bow staff.
I have the spear on my back, but I'm holding
Okay.
my bow staff.
Okay.
How many spears were there?
3.
Okay.
So there you go. I kind of just made it up on the spot, and kind of worked out that you guys each got one. So
We each
there
got a
you go.
spear, and Mika's got the bow and arrow.
Yeah.
But if we encounter a dead person,
Just saying. The
So
only
it's
person
just-
here
it's
who's
just fun
skilled
time.
in weapons.
It's fun time for Skylar to see if I put you in an encounter, do you rely on your bending or do you rely on the weapon in your hand? I'm
Well,
curious.
I'm the one-
Well, you're the one person.
The one
that's just
exception
stuck
is
with
like, give
what-
me weapons, and I'll use the weapons.
Will Bill use the bow staff or will Bill use the spear?
bow
That's
staff
really
or bow staff with pointy
with
edge.
pointy end. Yep, exactly. Awesome, fantastic. Okay, so you guys have kind of loaded up on weapons, on armor, one might say, and of course information. Where are you guys headed next?
Guess we're going to that cave.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll stop by Tatanka's cabin before I go into the cave.
Wait, I thought this was Tatanka's cabin.
No.
I thought this was his journal.
I never said that. I said this guy was writing in there that they were going up to the mountain.
Oh.
And you think that's where
And that's why I
Tatanka
think
is.
Tatanka is there because everybody was going to the mountain.
Everyone.
Oh,
I don't know, it says
okay.
people.
That's why this whole place is
But my
abandoned,
roguish
because they all went
tendencies
to
are
the-
telling me to stop by Tatanka's cabin and loot it for everything it's worth.
Basically.
Well, let's go find Tatanka's captain's log, his cabin log, and then we can compare notes.
Weren't we just in his cabin?
Oh
We
my-
already
Bill,
had
where
this
have you been?
conversation. We
so
literally
confused.
just had this conversation.
What was the last
Just
one we were
follow
in? That we set on
Mika to the
fire?
cabin.
What's the one we started on fire?
That was the chief's hut.
We started on fire? I would like credit for that.
But like that's like the big like meeting place. Like the,
Oh,
that's
it's just like a town center.
yeah, it's like if the chief had an
Oh,
office.
Okay.
I burned the town hall.
So we're going to Tatanka's hut. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. So this place is literally 2 huts and a town
I mean,
center.
it is technically where the chief lives, but for those that have listened to the prequel, no, Tatanka wasn't the chief at the end.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are headed to Tatanka's cabin, which is on the outskirts of the village, the kind of a little bit more to the other side. Inside, things are torn up. much like most of the other places that you've been. But the thing that really stands out most of all is the semi-fresh blood that seems to streak from inside out the door.
Semi-fresh?
We didn't see
Yes.
this. What?
No, it was a ways away.
Oh,
So
You're
it's
seeing this as you approach. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah.
So the blood leads out the door
Yes.
or in the door.
Out the door.
Bill sees
Well, how
that.
do we know which direction that the blood's going?
Well, you could follow it.
Bill sees that and goes, ooh,
Well,
that's no good.
here's what I'll say.
Well, that's not.
Are any of you by any chance peeking into the cabin?
Well, yeah, me, 100%.
Okay, so Mika peeks into the cabin and does not see a body there. Therefore, whatever left of blood was being pulled out. There you go. Mika, what you do see, though, is that amidst sort of this blood streak, there is a letter.
Just laying there.
I'm tired
Yeah.
of reading that. I'm just kidding.
I'll read it.
Let Brock read it.
Yeah, oh
Wow.
my gosh, here we
No,
go again.
I'm going to read it.
Okay.
I'm
Can you
sorry.
read this one out loud?
Yeah,
Unlike all the last ones you just read to yourself and then pushed in your pocket. I've been watching you.
Oh, what does it matter? I'm telling you.
I
the
mostly was
important
watching you
parts.
because I wanted the bow and arrow.
Why is
Why
that
does
with
it keep
everybody
coming
in the bow
back
and
to the
arrow?
bow and arrow?
Because I haven't been able to shoot one in a while. And you guys have cool bending powers. And I just want to do something more.
You
than
have a cool bow staff.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I've
Reading
had
the
that since
letter.
season
All right,
one,
all right. So it is addressed. It is
Whoa,
addressed.
what season? Wait.
You're
Can
not
I st-
high.
Whoa, what's happening?
It is addressed to Mika, and it has the Blissful Brew wax seal on it. So you break the seal, you open it up. You know it's obviously from Mr. Okeron, right? Inside, the letter reads,
Mika, I did not want to burden you with any trials or challenges in your part of this journey. You have already been through so much in life and still retain the burden of missing your father. I only hope that I could have been a good temporary replacement for him until you find your true father. I had hoped that in sending you to this place, you might be able to find some answers about what happened all those years ago and maybe even lead you to locate your father. I have entrusted your final piece of the map with Tatonka, which will complete the diagram and show you where I've hidden the will to ensure that Madame Yang never gets a hold of it. I hope that the Blissful Brew will always be a safe place and sanctuary for you whenever you return from your travels and find your father wherever he may be. I know that Bill, Brock, and Guo will all be waiting there for you with smiles and hugs. I only wish I had the opportunity to be there as well, to offer one final embrace and to meet the man that raised an incredible young woman. Be safe on your travels. I truly hope that you and your father might one day be reunited.
Did you read that one out loud?
Sure, bro. Bill.
I
Yes.
didn't say that. Okay.
Yes, Cameron, I read that out loud.
Thank you.
all right, so that's what you're left with. The last piece of the map is still with Tatonka.
So now we really got to go to that cave.
I guess so.
All right. You guys are able to follow the blood trail that leads up the mountain. There's kind of a path that looks like maybe people had gone up here, you know, not necessarily recently, obviously, but like people made their way up to this cave every once in a while for whatever reason. And so they're kind of developed a path to some extent. As you guys near the cave itself, there's a strange sensation of fear that starts to envelop you, as if something inside is giving off some sort of aura of vileness and evil. It is quite dark in this cave.
I still have that flint and steel.
You do still have the flint and steel.
Let's make some torches.
Do you run back down the path and just grab some junk from? No, I'm totally kidding.
I'm sure there's some trees I can rip a branch off somewhere.
He's got a lot of coats on. No, I'm totally kidding.
Hey,
Yes.
don't be on my
you
coat.
wanna come over here real quick? Don't mind the flint and steel.
I would definitely, yeah, I'd say that there's, you know, some good old like evergreen type trees, you know, the ones that tend to grow in like colder climates, and there's a few branches you can pick up off the ground, or you can just grab a branch of that, because that stuff burns fast. Those pine needles, woo!
Yeah. So
You don't want it to burn fast.
That's true. That is true.
But
But
what if
it'd be
I
a good igniter.
what if I grab one with a bunch
Sure.
of pine needles,
Yeah.
light it on fire, and throw it in ahead of us to see if there's like a drop off, or see if there's any like big things we should probably be on the lookout for?
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it's a flat surface
Okay.
into this cave.
Okay. So yeah, I'll
You just go walk in and pick it up.
it's like, well, there's no fall to our deaths.
Did any of those places have like torches?
The one that you guys were in where you found, the nice stuff and the weapons, I would say there's no reason not to. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So we can say that you guys grabbed a couple, knowing that you guys
Yeah,
were
we
going
were
to head
heading
up
to
to
a
the cave
cave.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. This is one of those things. Like, I'm not trying to.
All right, who
Yeah,
wants
we
to
don't-
go?
okay,
in?
we go back and we grab
Yeah,
the torch and we come back.
exactly.
Okay, okay.
One way or another, you
trail
guys are
that
covered.
somehow the guy had enough blood to make up all the way up the mountain and still.
Well, it
He
just
didn't say it was a
slowly
blood
drips
trail.
out.
He said it was a trail of like people heading up there, so like a path in the snow.
Gotcha.
I don't think this.
Well, there was a trail to some extent of
was
blood.
there
but-
blood?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my! This
Yeah.
guy is going a ways.
Yeah.
He had places to be.
He has a lot of blood.
A lot of blood.
It
Might
definitely.
be a big guy
Or
Yeah.
or a big thing.
Oh, maybe he injured something.
maybe it's like a
Maybe he rode something.
Oh,
perchance.
an injured horse, perhaps.
Or maybe it's a
injured
dead
animal.
guy and I'm about to get that bow and
Or
arrow.
maybe he wasn't injured, but a different person was injured, and they were getting carried by someone else.
Or maybe.
There's
Or
a million and one
maybe-
possibilities of what could have bled and not bled.
Guess only one way to find out.
That's
You have to
right.
Light those torches, bro.
All right.
Might
Light
as well
my
let
fire.
Pepper figure it out. Run in there and come out.
Oh yeah, you just send him straight in and.
Into the fire? No.
Okay.
He
All right.
comes back out with blue eyes.
Yep, that's right. We messed up. You guys all light up your torches and you start to head in, and you travel down a wide open dark tunnel. Eventually you find an outcropping with a little bit of a drop in the rocks where a variety of wild animals seem to be roaming around. Animals that you wouldn't normally find in caves, although there are some that you would. As you guys watch, you hear a flap of leathery wings as something massive, difficult to see in the distance of this darkness, flutters down, and you hear a winter hare let out a soft scream as it gets snatched up, and as you watch as it kind of, the light glinting off of its white fur just lifts into the air.
Saddest sound ever.
Oh, it's true, yeah. I've heard rabbits scream before, it's terrible. Looking up, as you guys kind of point your torches towards the ceiling of this cave, you see a massive, horrendous bat-like creature that holds the poor rabbit in its claws and proceeds to latch a pair of pointed teeth into it. But instead of blood, you watch as a glowing aura seems to drift from the hare as its life force is drained. Guo, you might recognize seeing this as similar to at the carnival when Chang Sanani got a hold of that staff, and he was, instead of absorbing souls, he was sort of sending souls or spirit energy out. But whatever the case, eventually after the bat-like creature finishes absorbing this life force, he releases the rabbit, which falls to the ground and turns, and it now has those glowing blue eyes.
Guys, this isn't good. This is some spirit staff stuff.
And spirit staff stuff. Oh no.
Spirit staff stuff.
You remember, like I told you that story? It's like that's its soul or its life force or something.
Oh jeez, that's not good. Is that thing looking at us?
Is it looking?
It's not looking at you, but it does like hop around in this sort of like area, this almost like sort of a small coliseum area, and it does have those glowing blue eyes, just like you saw on the wolf.
Oh.
And additionally, and I hate to announce this, but at the other end of this sort of enclosure, you can see
Mr. Ocaron?
No. What? The limp body
Oof.
of ex-chief Tatonka.
I get the bow and
Is he
arrow.
only X because he's DEAD?
We can
No,
say
he was
dead.
X before. He was X before, but now he's X alive, X
He's dead
chief
and
Tatanka.
ex-chief. Okay.
And with that, we're going to close out episode 10. Hey everyone, Skylar the Game Master for Benders Brews and the Creative Director over at Session Zero Heroes here. I just wanted to give you a quick outro before you head over to the next episode or call it a day. Firstly, thank you so much for listening to our show. It means so much to us to have such amazing people like yourself that enjoy the content that we produce. Without you, there really wouldn't be much point in all the work that we put into recording, editing, and sharing our TTRPG sessions with all of you. With that being said, we would love it if you would throw some love our way and drop us a review or a rating or whatever it is called wherever you're listening to the show based on whatever platform that allows you to leave reviews and leave recommendations. It means a lot to us to get to hear why you love the show we make, and it also helps the show reach other listeners as well, allowing us to grow our community. So, if you're feeling especially generous, you could even go as far as to share our show to your friends and family who also enjoy TTRPG actual play podcasts. It's really expensive for us to be able to advertise, and we don't do much of it, so it's a lot more help to have you guys share it with people that you know will enjoy it, and then they can join in the community that we're creating. That would make you a Session Zero hero yourself. And additionally, we'd love to have you stop by on one of our various social platforms and interact with the channel there. You can find Session Zero Heroes on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Discord. We post all sorts of updates, clips, and even the occasional behind-the-scenes look at what we're up to. And if you're ever looking for information on SZH, or you don't use a podcast streaming site but you want to listen to our shows, you can do so by checking out our website at sessionzeroheroes.com. And while you're there, you can find out about the cast and the crew that make our show and provide the players' voices in all of our various series. And if you're feeling especially cheeky, you can check out our merch store, where we have a ton of designs and products to choose from, all of which help us pay the bills and keep the lights on. So once again, thank you all so much for listening, and remember to stay curious, stay heroic, until we roll again.